of Bob the Blurred Official Podcast. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since we have been able to do a show. We have been booked and busy, but we are here.
Forever.
I know, right? It's been forever. We are so happy to be here. We are so happy that you are with us. Thank you for joining us. Oh my God, Hilton George, how are you? How's it going?
Oh, it's great. Lots of traveling, as you know.
Yes.
We've been in some of the same places. Atlanta. We've been traveling across the globe over these last few months. It's been insanity. It's been a very busy spring, leading into summertime, and
we both had family vacations at the same.
family vacations, and I don't use that term. You know, I don't use that term. There's vacations, and then there's family trips. And
right.
Family trip is a different. That's a whole different calculation. There's a different energy source you got to tap into to make the family trip work versus the vacation where you just kind of unplug and you know. I was doing the family trip.
You had me dying because you were doing a family trip and my family was arriving. And you're right, it's a different kind of thing because but you know what, I actually had a great time because my family came to LA, which they never get to come. Times. And so it was like my niece and her family came, and it's like one of those things where they are young, like they're at least, you know, she's at least 7 years younger than me, but we grew up like sisters. But it's one of those things where like they have energy. I don't have that type of energy. Like they did something every single day for a week. And thankfully, her brother, my nephew, lives here as well. So he would take a day, I would take a day. He would take a day, I would take a day. Then we'd have family day. But we did everything from Universal Studios to the zoo to the beach to the they went to the Hollywood Boulevard, all those things. And I was like, they did more sightseeing than I've ever done, and I've lived here for 30 years.
Yeah, that's how it works. You know, when the place you live, the stuff that people who come to where you live, if you live in a city or a region that's got, you know, landmarks and history and tourism, is never the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis.
No,
it's never. It's like, oh yeah, take us to all the stuff that you love to do. Take us to the Hollywood sign. We know you spend a lot of time out there. You're like,
right. Well,
I'm not even sure how to get there.
Because like where you live in DC, so you especially, like there is monument, this, that. I mean, there's so, like, it's such a sightseeing place. Like literally every time I go to DC, I become a tourist. And even though I've seen this stuff like 1,000 times, I still want to see it 1,001. So I know, you know, what I was going through this week. And I mean, I'd literally get home and I would be like, I would knock out for 3 hours and they would keep going. They were like, okay, we're going to keep going. Bye.
The way my knees are set up, you know, all that walking and standing, you know, I'm not built for that no more. I'm like, I need to get to my destination. Yes. And we need to lock down where we go. I need a plan.
One or two
destinations. Get in the car, start spinning around. We got to get timetables, especially dealing with kids.
Oh, I know.
Because now you got to get the meals right. Because the kids got to eat, you know, 5 times a day. You know,
they eat a lot.
Yes, all the time, and terribly. Like they don't want to eat. They get
like a balanced diet. It's like junk.
Listen, I don't know how young the kids were you were with, but I was raised differently when it comes to food. You went to a restaurant and you ate what was on the menu, and there was no, like, you didn't get an interview as to what you wanted to eat. And that process is alien to me because I don't have kids.
Right.
So I don't have any
like cheeseburger, pasta, or
we're at a restaurant on the water. It specializes in like all kinds of fish and seafood and all this stuff. And you got this kid in the corner who's just like, I want a cheeseburger. And we're just like, we're not even sure. We don't see it on the menu.
Not on the menu, son. You want a crab leg?
How about a shrimp? Something like that. Nope.
You want a mahi-mahi? We're at a seafood restaurant, damn it.
The fish of the day, you know,
fish
something.
Chips. Like, what do you want?
Something. No. But the whole thing is like, you know, you gotta eat what you gotta feed them what they want to eat when they want to eat. I was like, no, my mom would have been like, well, you just not eating. That's what you're
Right.
telling us. Like, I'm done. I done moved on to the other side of the
Right.
menu. They talking with the waitress, trying to figure out how to get a burger onto the menu and all this.
Yes.
And I'm just like, for real? Like, we doing this?
Yes.
So, but it's all love, you know. It's all like, you know, you don't get to see your family that often, especially
Right.
all together. So you
Right.
relish those times because you know you don't know when the next time is you're going to get all those people together. You know how it is though.
Yeah.
When you get to a
Yeah.
certain age, family only comes together for babies being born and funerals.
Right.
And once all the kids are born, they ain't but the other thing. And you're
Yeah.
just
And
like,
it's not
you
good
know,
when you get together. Yeah. It's always like, oh, but we're
exactly,
getting together for this reason. Yeah. No, it
exactly.
was
So you make the most of it.
excellent. It was absolutely excellent. I was so happy that they were here. I was so happy to play tour guide. You know, we did all the things and we had so much fun. I'm
Oh yeah,
exhausted and I've got like two
yeah.
or 3 days to get ready for my next round of Comic Cons. And I'm gone for a 10-day stretch. And so I was like, okay, I got to get my nails done. I got to get my laundry washed.
That laundry is a pain. Like you don't even think about it.
Oh,
You just wake up after traveling, like, oh, I don't have any underwear. Like you've
right.
been on 3 flights and you haven't been down to the laundry room and
Right.
you realize I have to wash my own clothes because I'm
Right.
an adult. They're not going to wash
Where
themselves.
Yeah, you're like, where is the laundry fairy? Like, I need her to
Right.
just show up and like wash the clothes while, you know, we're doing the things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't happen. I'm an adult. Like, you got to do it all yourself. Like, what the hell?
Don't like it at all.
I know. It's insane. Well, while all of that was happening and while we were traveling the globe, like literally traveling the globe, like Hilton was in Mexico at one moment, then he was somewhere else. And I was everywhere. I did 7 shows in a row and was like, I don't even know how I did that. But Ironheart came out and it was so good. Like, what was so amazing to me, of course, you know, the trolls came out. They couldn't stand that, you know, a black lead
Review bombing
yeah,
days before it came out. Review bombing.
yes, like it was insane, but we knew that was going to happen. So as a coalition, we all said we are going to watch Ironheart. We're going to watch it many times, and we are just going to make sure that this show sees the light of day and gets the numbers that it deserves.
Absolutely.
And of course, executive producer Ryan Coogler delivered. He delivered.
As always.
It was him and his team. It was the most amazing show I had seen. It was beautifully written. It was beautifully cast. And it just was so good. It was better than I'd hoped. Like it was
Absolutely.
It just, I don't know. I mean, what were your initial thoughts? Because I know my initial thoughts, I knew I was going to love it, but I didn't know I was going to love it. Like, I didn't know it was going to get all these emotions.
I knew I was going to love it because, you know, Ryan Coogler doesn't miss, right? So, you know, he's coming. This actually was shot and in the can for 2 years.
Yes.
Because, you know, the MCU has been in a shuffle
Yes.
for the last 2.5 years, and it got caught in that. And, you know, they have a production schedule. Things
Yes.
need to come out in a certain sequence to fit with
Make-
other movies, especially
Right.
as
To
they're
make it
world
all make
building
sense.
and right. So you have to remember this came out. This was in the can, done, edited, and ready to roll 2 years ago. So it's been sitting in the can for a minute. And I was actually worried because the promotional campaign they didn't lean in on it. And I was
They
like,
didn't
wait a
lean
minute.
at all.
Like, you know, we were getting like a month beforehand and we're like, where's the trailer? We don't see
And
a trailer. What are they doing?
We've had Fantastic Four teasers, trailers for 6 months now. Like, come
Fantastic
on.
Four, Thunderbolts,
All of
Superman been running trailers since Christmas.
Yes.
And we're sitting there like, well, where's Ironheart?
Right.
And so I was worried about that.
Pissed me off.
I was concerned. And you know how the political climate is. The political climate is such that, you know, a lot of things that fall under the opposite side's definition of DEI is getting attacked. And the review bombing did happen, but that would have happened anyway. But the fact that they didn't lean into it with the kind of forcefulness that I felt like they should have. They didn't even have a very strong promo campaign. I didn't see a lot of screenings. I didn't see a lot of red carpet. You know, a lot of that wasn't there. And, you know, there will be questions as to why, but nonetheless, it was an amazing series.
Yeah.
What I loved is that Chicago is a background character in the series.
Yes.
If you've ever been to Chicago,
Yes.
like not the tourist magnificent mile Chicago, if you've actually been to and through and know Chicago, into the city, you recognize it. I have, and I was just like, oh, I know that street. Oh, I know. Like they really, really embedded this movie in that Chicago environment. They told a personal story. This could have picked up like 2 hours after she left Wakanda and then just kind of piddled along until the villain came along. But it really kind of, better defined her, Riri Williams, as a character, built out her world. We met her mom. We met her friends. We heard more of her backstory, her stepdad, her best friend. We got to meet her expanded circle of friends, that have kind of defined her character, and better defined her for the series before any of the shit, proverbially started hitting the fan. Right. So it was a little bit of a slow burn, but I appreciated that because it made like that first 2.5 episodes was just kind of, okay, this is what I expected. She's humming along. This whole thing of the falling out with college and her doing what she was doing, kind of caught up to her. And then it gets all amped up. Yeah. And by the time you get to the second 3, because they released the first 3 episodes, and then I think a week or 2 later they released the second 3 all at once. And so it was like bam, bam, and done.
Another thing that made me mad.
Well, you know what though? I think they did the right thing, because if they had let it be the slow burn of the 1 episode drip per week, people might have disengaged. If they had just had that first episode, then they had to wait a week and then do the second episode before things really, really started kicking in. Because this is, for a lot of people, an unknown character that they don't have any investment in. It's not Tony Stark. It's not Spider-Man. It's like
and for some reason, they haven't read these comics. At least, like, they pretend they haven't. And these comics
haven't read the comics. Don't know the character. Don't know the storyline. Maybe they saw Wakanda Forever and met her as a character before. Maybe they didn't. But it told a really heartfelt story. They did amazing special effects and CGI. Yes. There is not going to be any fanboys complaining about CGI in this. It was very well shot. The soundtrack I thought was really interesting. So they really had that nice R&B groove, soundtrack that kind of took us
Chicago. Like
into
if you go to a speakeasy or a lounge or a club in Chicago, you're gonna get that. This is the vibe.
Yes, I want Shaka Khan in all my heist movies. Shaka Khan has got to be in there. Like, come on. So I really like the way it was done. I like the way it was shot. I like the way the story was told. I like the changes that they made from comic book canon, in that, the AI was not Tony Stark as it is in the comics. Just like she wasn't groomed through the Stark Industries into her genius. Right. She was groomed through Wakanda and their Wakanda program to her genius. So I think it's much more appropriate. And better for the budget that you don't have to hire Robert Downey Jr. to be in 6 episodes of a show, and it told a better story. And we finally got Mephisto.
Yes,
man,
I fell to the floor.
Sacha Baron Cohen killed it. I did not know how this guy who plays Borat. If you're thinking about Borat,
I know
when you think about what he was going to do as
we've
Mephisto,
always known he was a good actor, because if you do something like Borat where you do not leave character and you go for weeks, months, and it's like, this guy's insane. Anybody with that type of
Borat, Ali G, he's all these over the top characters. I mean, remember him from Madagascar playing the king. Like it's just, and he just plays this the smooth. Like, I can see how he seduces people into selling their souls to them. Like, he was
so, like, it was so effortless. But it was so magical, like what he was doing. It was like, he was magical. Like, I was like, literally. No wonder. Like, I felt like it was so funny, because I went back and watched Wakanda Forever, because I felt like Riri looked so young in this series, right? But when I went back and watched it, she looked young there too. I don't know why I felt like she was so mature, but what I loved was, now we understood in Wakanda Forever how she would bond with Shuri, how she would understand Shuri losing so much, how she would like it because she lost so much. It was like almost like a parallel like existence of where like you went out on a limb for me to save me from, you know, the Taliban. And it's like we realize now, like she understood exactly what Shuri was going through because she had lost so much. And all the while she's learning how to become a superhero. Like she's watching, you know, this is how you stand up for what you believe in. This is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give up, you know? And so when we get her in Ironheart, it's just like, she is, you know, she's still so young, but she's still, she's mature and she's just in that place where you can understand the frustration. Like she doesn't have it all at her fingertips. Like she can't just go and have unlimited supplies to build her iron suit. She doesn't have unlimited funds. And if anybody has ever grown up in an inner city, and if anybody, you know what it is, where you got to just make it do what it do. I remember when I'd have school projects, I didn't get to go to the store and get to buy supplies and get to buy all these fancy things to make my projects. My mom would literally
the linen closet.
Yeah. She would say, go in the garage. There's 1,000,001 things in there and you find what you need and I'll buy you the poster board. And it would be like, dang it. Like, but it was like, you had to make something out of nothing. And so I think like, you know, when it came out, so many people could relate to her, you know, and could just relate to her eagerness and her wanting to do something great. Like when you're that smart and you're that, because I mean, you think about it, she was that smart, she was that, you know, and it wasn't like Shuri, it wasn't like Tony Stark where they had unlimited resources so that their genius could just flourish. She had to like think outside the box, you know, and we saw a little bit of that with Peter Parker, but Tony Stark stepped into his life really young. And I mean, he was in high school and gave him what he needed so that his genius could flourish. So it was just really cool, you know, that you see that this girl who goes to MIT at 15 and is like now 19 years old. And she just is in her having to make something out of nothing, she's making mistakes.
Yes.
She gets kicked out of school and she doesn't know how to police herself. She really didn't have a mentor who said, calm it down a little or anything. Like she didn't have a Tony Stark.
She was rudderless. And as we find out, traumatized. And you're rudderless, ambitious, traumatized, and driven. You know, these are combinations that just lead to worse and worse choices for people that are trying to use her, you know, to further their own gains. You know, I think like the whole idea of Mephisto is a metaphor for the entire series because everybody, including MIT, including the Stark Foundation, is using her to further their own ends. So for instance, you know, we meet her building a sensor that can find vibranium anywhere else in the world. She didn't build that so that, you know, the government could find vibranium somewhere else other than Wakanda.
She's like,
she made it. She built it for an assignment for a class, and they took it and used it for these purposes. So that metaphor, she's understanding like I'm being used, but I'm also being tasked to, you know, meet certain standards and survive. Without, like you said, the resources of a Tony Stark or a Shuri with the Wakandan backing. But most importantly, she doesn't have the identity. You know, the thing she talks about when it comes to privilege of Tony Stark isn't just his money, it's his station. It's like because he's Tony Stark, he can make mistakes and not go to jail. He can make mistakes and not have it affect the people around him in the same way that it does me because people are invested in me and people are dependent upon me to do things and survive and thrive and be successful because of, you know, the way my family is set up, the way my community is set up. Everything I do has this reverberating effect that a Tony Stark doesn't have to worry about. This guy can build armor. He can intervene in the Middle East, sell arms all over the world. And the person sitting next to him, you know, Happy, for instance, is not going to be directly adversely affected by his bad choices over on this side as far as his business. And she is constantly seeing these things blow up in her face. And she's having to make these decisions based off of that situation. And that's where she got in, you know, the show caught some feedback because people thought that they were talking about white privilege or, you know, just privilege in general when it came to Tony Stark. Well, I'm not Tony Stark. I can't do ABC 1, 2, 3. And then they have that meme of like, Tony Stark built this, you know, in a cave with scraps. And they're like, well, but even then he was given the resources to do it.
Yeah.
and he had help. And he had the only reason he was alive in a situation like that was because he was Tony Stark. The only reason why he was, in a position to even save himself in that situation is because he was Tony Stark. And he had that identity and he had that knowledge. So I think that she has now defined her lane in a better way. And I think she's going to be more used and better placed in the future properties in this phase of the MCU. And I think that was what was at stake.
I think she really surprised the heads of Disney because, I mean, that show stayed #1 for weeks. Like, literally, I just looked right now. It's still top 5. It's, on their chart. And they are literally releasing new stuff, and it would not move from #1. And what I love, though, was that you said it was shot 2 years ago. It was in the can. 2 years ago, you had Cree Summer at your show, and little did we know she was working on this series. And I loved her part. I just thought it was so. It almost was like they wrote it for her, as her real life. Like it was
amazing role, amazing side role, and it opened up so many doors that. I'm excited.
Yeah,
this is just think about who she is. And then we find out who she is. And this is, I mean, by now, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert.
Sorry, I know. It's been weeks. You guys should have watched. We're late on our
This is your normal crystals and tarot card reading sister, who's always paying attention where the moon is in Gatorade with Saturn.
She was right there with Dr. Strange and all them.
Right. And she actually was at Comertage, right?
Yes.
Somehow got pregnant with her daughter, who also is a magic user, and she left Comertage because she didn't feel like that was a safe space
for her baby. Yeah. Which I will say, the young actress that plays her daughter, it's so funny. It's such a small world. My niece, Reagan, who is a singer, she had a group. Her and Reagan had a group like 5 years ago. They were teenagers and they were in a singing group for like 2 years. So our family has known Reagan for so long. Yeah.
Stop it. I need her number, right?
I totally will. Yeah, she needs to come to BlurredCon. Like that is literally like she would love it. But yeah, they were in a group, and so I knew she had gotten the role. I knew she'd gotten a part in the MCU, but I didn't know what. I knew she was going to be on Ironheart, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like that is awesome. And so for me to see her in this part that she was so perfect for, and like I hope and pray that Creasa, like really all of the characters, like I hope that they are able to go on and that they're able to use them. And this is perfect for them to, be, at the School of Magic and because it's literally set up that way. Like they left,
if they choose to make that slight right turn to give us a Marvel Hogwarts, that lane is now wide open.
They left America.
People are like drumming. They're just like, come on, let's do it.
It is.
Well, see, what's so great about it in the comic is that they wrote it in such a way that it doesn't affect the larger Marvel universe, right?
It can be
it's like it's at a school. Everything that is happening kind of on campus between the students, kind of like a Hogwarts thing in the first like maybe 3 Harry Potters before they went to this wild exploration of that whole world. It was really everything happened inside Hogwarts.
Everything,
so they can do it without having to make life decisions about phase 6 and 7 and 9 and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you've got all these characters that are the kids of or offspring of Loki, Dormammu, like the shaman.
Well,
all these characters
they left America there at the end of that Doctor Strange movie. She's there learning. The boy was the boy with Peter Parker, his best friend. He learned how to do the ring. So they were like, we need you to come. You saw, them pick up Shang-Chi and what's her name? His best friend. They all went to the Carmitage. So it's like it is set up to be the greatest thing ever. We need the
and they can tell some amazing stories. Yes. And the thing about Reagan, sticking with Reagan for a minute, is that she is a Marvel. She is, and her character, but her as a person is a huge comic book head. Her knowledge of Marvel comics and comic books in general is almost encyclopedic. Yeah. So listening to her talk about her perspective of her character with the full understanding, reading the script of the implications of certain lines and certain movements and things like that. She was talking about like how
She was born for the
flicking
role.
the little snot that you read on the glass, was like significant, like how you fling it. Like you can't just it had to look like something you do on a regular, and then like how she created or takes people in and out of the pocket dimension, and all of those sorts of things. The mind maggots, that she had at one point, and it is assumed that Doctor Strange intervened to get them out. So there's so many little Easter eggs in there that she's ready, and a lot of people won't get it. I understand. There's a lot of you who are not comic book heads who are not
I'm
really
not
into
one,
all
but
the Marvel
it
movies.
definitely sent me down a rabbit hole, because when I started seeing all these little things, I started like YouTubing, and I was like, I need to figure out, what does this mean? What, me, I always want to know.
But you know what? But you know why this is, Karen? Because you are susceptible, just like everyone else, to what is known as Black girl magic.
Yes,
we've got Black girl magic in this series that we weren't expecting to get.
Yeah,
we really thought we were going to watch some weird rehash of the first movie of Iron Man.
Yeah,
where the armor succeeds. And there's magic, and there's like all these side stories, and then there's a potential deal with the devil himself. Dormammu is plugged into this.
I was dying.
There's two villains that live on and go out into the world after this that are unresolved. So it's like they could really do so much with this, and I hope the appetite is recognized for this, and we get it. Because you want to talk about something that the blurred community will bite its teeth into.
Yeah, and think about it, like going back to the School of Magic, like. I mean, we've got Agatha all along. Like, we've got so many people who could be at this school. Give us the Hogwarts of the MCU. Damn it. Give it to me.
It's right there. It's just like, ready. Low-hanging fruit.
I want it more than I want. Because the thing about this is the characters are so much more complex. Not to say that the Harry Potter characters weren't complex, but these characters are so diverse. They're so, like, they all have been affected by tragedy. They all are so it's layer on top of layer as to how they even discovered their magic and how they become who they are. And they're just right there where they're so complicated enough to make a million mistakes, but they've got such great hearts to fix it all, And so it would be the adventure of all adventures. And I need it.
We have been asking, that's it for anyone out there who doesn't know and is not paying attention to the blurred space. The meme of Black Hogwarts has been out there for years, and people have been asking for some version of it, and just there's an underlying tapping of an indigenous need for this in the community and in the fandom, that if they were to give it, it's not like something that they would have to drum up interest for. I think people would lose their collective shit just at the suggestion of something like that going into production or pre-production. Yeah. And so, yes, absolutely.
It'd be insane.
It would be insane.
It would be
huge.
Well, going back to the cast, like we got Anthony Ramos, we got Alden.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, it was like this cast was so littered with so many great, just people who were, I mean, you can call it a scene still, but it's like when you got a great scene with a bunch of great actors. I mean, there were so many moments. Everybody got their moment, but it was rightfully earned because of the performances. Like, I was thinking Anthony Ramos, I've seen him in several things. I mean, we've got Hamilton, we've got Twister, he's the hot guy right now as far as movies go. And he's one of those triple threats where he's singing, dances, he can do it all. And so when I found out he was in here and he was going to play Hood, I was like, oh, that's interesting casting. I wonder, I just didn't know where that was going to land. I just was like, I know he's going to be good because I've always liked his work. And he seems to always be dedicated emotionally to what he's committing to. And he does the work. He does the research. He's not just going to throw something up there and see if it sticks. But I was just interested at how it was going to land. And it landed so well. Like, he's another one of those villains that you love to hate, and
you sympathize with. You're like you're a really bad guy, and I don't like you, but I kind of understand why you are the way you are.
I mean, when your father says, "I didn't want you," and he's a kid, and he was like,
that reveal,
he loses his mother,
is so heartbreaking, and you just it all comes together
Yeah.
He's not just some stock villain who's like,
Yeah.
I've made a deal with the devil and now I have to do this thing, you know, and it's
No.
like he is on a mission and his mission didn't make sense to me.
It didn't
Like,
make
what is
sense
he
at
doing?
first. Yeah.
You know, like I understand you're doing this Robin Hood bit, but to what end?
Right.
And then he shows back up in the house that they had done the flashbacks for.
Yes. Like
and then you realize it was his house.
Yeah.
The recognition of the security guy to go, hey kid, like, oh, and then like he grew up there.
Yeah.
And then to have his father be this guy and him be on this mission, just you understand why someone like Mephisto would be able to exploit.
He was ripe for the picking. Yeah.
Ripe for the picking. And just,
I mean, but it's one of those things where it was almost like a Killmonger kind of thing, where it was like
exactly
someone who was thrown away. Like
yes.
Like we find out later that Killmonger was thrown away by, you know, T'Chaka, and like just that decision to not take him with them and just to leave him there to fend for himself. And now we find out that, you know, Anthony Ramos's character was just left to fend for himself, kicked out with no, like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, you know, it's like that sadness, that abandonment, that trauma turns into pure anger, just anger and vengeance.
His whole criminal enterprise, while it was what it was kind of under this theme or this guise of building family. Yes. And now you understand why he didn't.
He really meant that.
To do stuff, and he called them family, even though he killed some people. He still
If you betrayed the group, you died.
Right,
it's blood in and blood out.
Exactly. So he's still a bad person, but you do understand why he has formatted his bandits as a family and has given them that feeling that they're part of a family, even though he's lied to them, and when they find out, they're not happy about it. But that arc of a character, which I thought they were not going to pull off, I was just like, the Hood is a very subtle character in the comics. You know, he's got a lot of rewrites and a lot of, you know, reboots of his powers and everything. I'm like, how do they fit him into this story in a way that is, I don't want to say believable because it's, you know, a comic book show, but you know, that makes sense. And they did it, and he did it. And so, you know, you can't have a good hero without a good villain. And
it made sense. It made and it just showed how Riri was ripe for the picking. Like, she was with all of her unresolved trauma and all of her PTSD and all of the things that she was dealing with. She was ripe for the pick. Like, she was an easy target of and just as an example of, like, you know, if you know that you've gone through some things in your life, that is not a badge of honor. That is something you need to face, you need to resolve. Otherwise, it comes out and it manifests in different ways. And you were ripe for the picking to make bad decisions or to find yourself in bad situations, because you're going to pick what you think you need to do when you know, it was like, you know, everybody else would sit there and watch and go, why is she working with this team? She knows they're stealing. She knows they're doing bad things. And even she says, you know, this isn't legal. And he goes, like, he looks at her and is like, what is legal? Like, you're like, you, like, you know, but even when you saw her at MIT, she was helping other people do their projects and helping them get grants and helping them get things that they probably didn't earn. And it was just like bad decision. But her whole thing was all just driven from the trauma of losing her best friend, losing her stepdad, the two people that meant the most to her, and witnessing it and not doing anything and going, here I had all this intelligence, but I could not save them. I didn't know how to fight for them. I didn't know what to do in that moment, which I sit there and think, who would know what to do? Like, very little people would know what to do at that age. But going to her best friend, Lyric Ross, who is played by, Lyric Ross is the actress, and she played Natalie, who was her best friend. And through her trauma and through that, you know, PTSD, when one night when she's trying to piece together her AI and she's trying to piece together a new, you know, iron suit, she, you know, taps into her own brain, which is insane. Like, she literally is like, okay, I've got this to save my life. I got this if I fall. Like, she knows it could be a bad experiment. And she wakes up and her brain or her technology creates Natalie, which is the one person that she probably thinks about the most, her best friend that she lost. And it just freaks her out. But it becomes a really interesting relationship between technology and this personal being, because this AI is not like a normal AI. This is a very humanized AI. Like, so it goes to show
because it
you
wasn't programmed.
right.
This was fed into the system directly from her
Yes.
subconscious because
Yeah.
she was asleep.
Yeah.
And if you imagine being asleep for an entire night and
What
having
dreams or
this
your
dreams and
thoughts
downloads
or
coming from your subconscious,
your depression,
there was,
everything.
yeah, everything she knew about this, her best friend,
Yeah.
ended up in the AI, to the point where the AI didn't really even
Know
understand,
that she was an AI.
that she was an AI and not her
Yeah.
best friend. Like, you watch that arc, like even the AI goes through a character arc
Yeah.
and a journey, and exists within the trauma of Riri. They
Mm-hmm.
both have traumatic episodes at the exact same time
Yeah.
because it's patterned after her own brain. So when
Yeah.
she starts breaking down as a person because she's in this place and things are triggering her, the
Yeah.
AI is having the same type of experience. And you're just watching
Yeah.
this like, this is her friend. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's an AI, it is functionally her friend. And, it just made for an amazing, like, frame for frame, entertaining, and makes you buy in to even the subtle times where nothing's exploding and
Right.
nothing big is happening.
Right.
It's just the banter between a girl and her dead best friend, who
Yeah.
is now an AI, but functioning more like a ghost,
Right.
and helping her
That
through
was a
her
slippery
trauma.
slope. And I thought they did
Very
pretty well
much
with
so.
that, because it could have gone like silly, campy, or it could have gone, like you said, it functioned like kind of like a ghost. It could have been like, I don't know. It was a slippery slope, but I thought that they did really well. And
Absolutely.
what I there was a thought I had. What I found interesting was, and what I really loved, and this is always, I mean, Ryan Coogler and his team, they never fail to like just add that extra layer of realness and emotion. Was, there are a lot of times in life that Black women are not looked at as feeling, living, almost like we're not beings. Like we can't have emotion, we can't have trauma, we can't, like, it's almost like it goes to the saying of where Black women are the most mistreated people in the world, and like protect Black women at all costs. And you see that this trauma, I mean, she literally has panic attacks. She has, and I just, it made me sad to see such a young girl going through something that emotional, but it also was so real, because there's so many Black women who have these traumatic experiences and their day to day, and they're not, they're not looked at as, I don't know, it's just really weird. Like, Black women get mistreated in so many different ways in our society, that it was good to see a Black woman feel and hurt and cry, and it was just good to have that example of she's human. She's a young girl. She might be a genius, but she's 19. Like, her emotional capacity is not on the level of her intelligence. Like, her intelligence is not this. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was.
Well,
very
I
much
mean,
a kid,
you think about it. She
emotionally.
was. I don't want to say premature, but she was ahead of everything. So,
Yes.
If you're at MIT at 15, what does your friends group look like? What do your social circles look like? Who are you connecting to?
Right.
In the normal way. How is your support system work when you're 200, 20-hour drive away from, MIT, and you're doing all these things. So, and then on top of that, you're suppressing trauma, and you're trying to survive. You've been through all the stuff that you had been through, in Wakanda Forever.
She was kidnapped.
And all of that. She was kidnapped, had the nation of Talokan trying to kill her, and then the world, and she went to war, at 16 years old.
Someone lost their mother over
just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so, I this underdeveloped sense of self was not the direction that I thought they would go. I thought that they were going to take, well, she's this tough kid from the South Side of Chicago who's tougher than she looks and gets underestimated because she's this little girl and all this stuff. And she's always, more of the person, or the strength is always there that people don't think is there. But they managed to insert this vulnerability without it coming off as a character flaw or as weakness.
Yeah.
That helped us connect with her, which is what I don't think they did as good a job of with her character's introduction in Wakanda Forever. We never really, she was there. She was kind of comedy relief. She was there to form a function, but she wasn't the center of the show. We didn't get to see an arc. We didn't really get to know her. And then here we're like, okay, you know, this is a human being who is going through stuff that, even though it's fantastical, is stuff that we can all relate to. And if it's not Mephisto, if it's not the Hood, if it's not, you know, MIT, you know, people who come up who give you gifts but then take from you, is something we go through almost daily in our lives. And I think that's the success of this series, is giving us the characters and building out the world that didn't exist before. MCU had never been in Chicago before, right? They could have been New York, you know, but we got Chicago on that. And we got these characters and these stories. We got what's his name? Stain. We got Stain's son.
Yes.
You know, which I just think is just amazing.
And that's another one.
Amazing.
It's like it's the planting of the seeds of where would that character end up? And it's got such deep rooted history in the MCU. Like, we saw him, you know, going after Stark. We saw so many.
Obadiah Stane. There it is.
Yes, Obadiah Stane. Yes. And so then you meet his son Ezekiel, who at first glance we meet him, and he's Joe, and he's this nerdy guy who is like, it was like, what is going on with this guy? Like, why does he have all these weapons? Why does he have, like, and there was all the questions and Riri was asking, and she knew there was more to this story, but because she was so focused on what she needed to do and to, you know, get the money she needed, and she kind of washed over him. But in the process, she kind of gave him a couple nuggets of, you need to stand up for yourself, right? But she did wash over him and kind of use him, and that comes back to bite her. And she's like she doesn't even realize that she did it because she was just so focused on her own mission and her own grief. And it's like, you know, she potentially created an enemy, potentially, or like, it's kind of open-ended. Like, he's kind of like, we're not done, Riri.
We don't know what he's gonna. Like, we don't know what he's gonna do.
Like, I'm gonna leave you alone right now, but we're not done. So it's like, is he her friend? Is he her enemy? Is he gonna be her partner? Like, you don't know, but it's just so fascinating that this character comes about, and you're like, he does the same thing his father does. He turns himself into a robot, a machine, and is like, you know, God only knows what he's going to do.
But
because he has powers.
This is part of the world building. He's now going to be in the MCU somewhere, somehow. And I'm glad that they picked an actor who has the chops to persist in this universe and not, you know, be somebody that we just kind of have to like, who is that again? Or I don't remember who that guy is. So they bring him back. Well, no.
Yeah.
They always pick the best people. And again, Ryan Coogler doesn't miss. Yeah. And he doesn't miss because he tells great human stories.
Yes.
The stories about people, regardless of whether it's about a boxer or a murder victim who's murdered by the cops, or vampires and criminals. He tells these stories about people, and that's for me, I believe that's the key to any good entertainment, be it television series or a movie, is the ability to connect with the characters. Yeah. And if the characters are well-rounded and they're put in a circumstance where they get to, you know, run a full arc of their story, then, you know, it's an automatic win. 75% of your job is done, and he always wins with that 75%.
Always.
And then, and again, you're sitting there thinking, how in the hell are they going to introduce Mephisto? We have been through the Infinity Gauntlet. We have been through 3, you know, Doctor Strange movies.
We've been through so much.
Why would he show up here in Chicago? But it makes sense because that's where the at the ground level in a pizza shop is where Mephisto can take a soul, not on Vormir
over
across
a meal.
Thanos, with the Infinity Stone saga going on. That's not where he's going to take someone's soul. He's going to find people at their lowest point who he can use, who need him, that aren't billionaires, who aren't gods, who aren't, you know, super powered people who with no problems.
That have talent. He
have potential, have talent, and then he can use them. And that's what makes him so compelling. And so potentially dangerous. Like I can see
So
now
dangerous.
where he's going to be in the
Yeah.
next iteration
Ooh.
because of how he showed up here. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like that he's not some giant, metaphysical character that, is
Not yet.
not, or at least
But
not yet.
he was just a normal guy. You knew he had some powers. He immediately lets you know that there's more to him. And it begs the question, right? Because the biggest question after the series is everyone was like so shocked. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, this is a big reveal. But at the end of the series, he sits Riri down and she has the cloak, and he's like, I can, I've made deals with everybody. And he's like, priests, popes, presidents, this, that. Like he names
Ringo Starr caught a stray.
Ringo Starr caught a stray.
How did Ringo Starr get a stray?
Well, Ringo Starr is
Ringo minding his business.
He's the only Beatle, right? Like it's like it literally. And so he goes,
no talent.
Yeah, he goes, okay, what do I know what you want? I know what you need, and I can give it to you. And so it just begs the question. I mean, she's in the midst of grief. Like her grief created an AI. Like, I mean, come on. And so it's like, what would you want? And we're literally I'm yelling at the screen, like, nah, she ain't gonna do it.
Run, girl.
Run. Get up out of there. Like, don't even sit the cool. Don't even listen anymore. Don't. And of course she sits there and she's tough. She's like, at this point, she's tough and she's going toe to toe with him. But at the end, in the end credit scene, she made the deal. Natalie reappears and it's not Natalie. What do you think? What is your theory?
I think it's about 60-40 that she did make the deal.
Really?
That 40.
But it came on her arm.
Think about what happened.
Okay.
She used the power source of her suit is a shard of the cloak of Dormammu.
That's true.
That same cloak that
and the cloak is in the scene. Poisoning. It's on top of the suit.
But it's also in her armor.
Yes.
And she has magic users around her, right?
Yes.
So she's got the access. I mean, obviously they cast a spell to power the suit with this magical source, right? In the same way an arc reactor powers Tony Stark's suit.
Yes.
So it could be said that the AI that was in the suit's memory fed off of that magic and became somewhat real because she actually made physical contact.
There's always a price to pay, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this could be a result of the use of dark magic. Remember, Kree's character said there is no bad or good technology, but there is bad and good magic.
Right.
And
this is bad
magic makes good people into bad things.
Yeah.
So if she's using the cloak of Dormammu, now obviously Mephisto laughed at Dormammu as being significant, but he's Mephisto, and that's just kind of jerky he is. But we know Dormammu's got an entire dimension that he dominates. It's a pretty powerful character. So if she's feeling the same symptoms from using that power source to power her suit in the same way that the cloak affected, our main villain, then that could be how this AI then became real. Because remember, the AI was stored in the suit's memory and got lost. Right. So there could be an out there. There could be an out there because we don't see her shake his hand. We just see the result of magic that at least we think is the result of magic. Bring her friend back.
And her friend
she thinks it's an AI, and the AI, and she's like, "I'm not an AI. What happened? Why are we here?" And she touches her, and she's like, "How did you do that?" She hugs her, and then you see the thing.
You're on the fence. Really?
It's a decision. If Ryan Coogler wanted us to know she made a deal with the devil, we would have seen her shake his hand.
Right.
If he wanted us to know that 100% that she did make that deal,
well, you know how he is. He's tricky. He's tricky. He don't always want us to know. We would have seen it.
Right. So it is up in the air. It is up in the air.
It's possible what you're saying.
It could be. But like I said on the initial viewing, I was thinking, dang it, she did take it. But then I watched it again, and I was like, wait, she never shook his hand.
I watched it a million times.
And she is using that cloak, that piece of that cloak, to power her suit. Yeah. And they didn't get rid of the suit or the cloak piece as a power source. Yeah, so I'm like, well, maybe that's the effect. These are the side effects. Of that power source just being, And by the way, can I just say how thrilling it is as a nerd
Yeah.
to see a piece of mech powered by magic. Like that was
Yes!
that's not canon. And I didn't understand. I didn't think that was
They
what
said it
was
was
going to
the
happen.
first time they've mixed it, technology with magic, and it was a big
I
deal.
thought they were going to find the arc reactor. I thought she
Yeah.
was going to steal some power source we hadn't encountered yet.
Yeah.
But she had that shard, and they're like, we're going to power your suit with magic. And what I love about this is that now Riri is a distinct character.
Yes.
Like the Ironheart armor being powered by magic, especially dark magic.
Yeah.
Puts her on the mech playing field in a different way.
Yeah.
This isn't just a mech war like
there's
War
no
Machine
Iron Man,
or
like there's no comparison now. It's two different things,
no,
apples and oranges.
It's apples and oranges now, and I love it. There's so many possibilities of what a magic powered mech suit can do.
Yeah.
That we have no clue of. Again, the world is wide open now.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
That's what the best Marvel stories do, is they open up this wide world.
And that's what Disney Plus is doing. Like, I am loving Disney Plus. Like, I am loving, like, the fact that they gave us, 6 hours worth of this girl and her character and her friends and her cast and these villains, and like we couldn't have got this in a movie. We couldn't have gotten this in a movie. Like it needed to be a 6-hour series. I wish it were 8, but it needed to be 6. That was my biggest complaint. Like I was okay with them releasing it quick, but my biggest complaint that it wasn't 8 and that we just got it 1 week and the next week. Like it was, I did wish they would have drug it out 3 weeks. Like we would have got the first 3 episodes. You gotta
forgive them though, because you had the Thunderbolts, and then they got the Fantastic Four coming. There's only this narrow window in which they can.
It needed its own moment and its own time to marinate. And that was the
I
thing,
get it.
though. I wanted 8. I wanted 2 more episodes.
Well, you know what? I'm hoping that we get like these just an embarrassment of cameos in all the future MCU movies before you get to Young Avengers and all these properties where they're kind of slowly building the predicate for. But no, it really hit the mark. I understand, and I am so proud of the fandom for ignoring the haters.
Thank you.
And just saying, you know what? I'm already paying for Disney Plus, damn it. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna hit play on something I'm already paying for. If you can talk me out of watching something I'm already paying for, then I'm the problem.
I've been waiting for, like that I need. I want some superhero stuff. Like
even if I wasn't waiting, like I'm like, is someone like it's right there. It's not like you're asking somebody to get in the car and go to a movie theater and pay $30 for 2 tickets and popcorn.
It's
here.
Sit
your butt down, hit play. And we did that, and we watched it multiple times.
We did it.
And it was a huge win. A huge win.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Ryan Coogler, congratulations.
We got to shout out the creator of the series, her name is Chinaka Haj, and she was the creator and head writer of this series, and she partnered with Ryan.
Absolutely.
She is a force, and I hope that they continue.
Bring her back.
They're going to let her do some other series. This was a hit. It was a huge hit. I mean, one of the biggest hits that Disney Plus has had. They can't deny it, and I can't wait. I'm just in so much awe of every single actor, every single writer. Like you said, the special effects were on point. The music, the score, everything hit at all cylinders, and it was such a real story and such a real. It was a diverse, a beautiful, diverse image of Chicago and what Riri had to bring to the MCU, and I can't wait to see her in new stuff. And we need the Hogwarts of the MCU. We need it so bad.
I'm telling you, if Kevin Feige green lights a miniseries of this Hogwarts-esque, academy,
I don't understand how
it would be like it would just. I mean,
like everyone was crying for it. Please.
Yes.
It's there. It's just
there.
Oh,
it's already built. Just run it. let the stories go. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I loved it too.
Yes.
I loved it too. Well, guys, that is it for this episode of The Bop. We are so glad you were with us. We hope you watch Ironheart. If you have not seen Ironheart, go watch it now, because everything we said here wasn't even a spoiler. Like, there are so many things that happen. We've said some things, but trust me, there are like 1,000 other things that we didn't even touch, we couldn't cover.
Absolutely.
And we're not even that type where we're going to play the play-by-play of each episode. We just give you the things that spoke to us, and the conversation just goes where it goes. But watch it again, put it on. I remember we were watching it, and when it ended, the person I was watching it with was like, okay, so what? It comes out every Tuesday. And I go, no, that's it. The six episodes just flowed that seamlessly, and we were left wanting more. And so, Kevin Feige, we need more. A lot more.
And you did it again. You did it again.
Yeah,
this is a great series, and it was a bold choice, because at one point it was going to be a film, and they moved it. They moved it to a series, which was a bold move.
Yes.
But I think it was the right move. I think there's other properties that didn't do as well in the theater that should have been series. Eternals.
Very much so.
And we appreciate that, because those kind of decisions help with the world building and give us more to chew on and give us better access.
That's the way you introduce all these characters, that you don't just force feed us all these characters in a 2-3 hour movie. Like, it's too much. But if you put it in a series, it just unravels slowly but surely. And they say that the rumor has it that there was a end credit scene that was deleted where they were recruiting Riri for the Young Avengers. Like, Haley Stein shows up, and then what's her name, our other girl, that they supposedly show up at the end of the movie and recruit Riri. So I don't know if that was true, but if it is true, we need to just get it in the deleted scenes. We need the deleted scenes. I need the making
Undeleted.
Yeah, undelete it, because we know she's going to be there. She needs to be there. Oh my gosh. So guys, thank you for watching The Bop, the Blurred Official Podcast. Tune in every Tuesday and get a whole bunch of us and talking about a whole lot of everything. We love you. We mean
so happy to be back.
Bye.
Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of The Bop, the Blurred Official Podcast.